guy that his car breaks down, and he sees a house and he goes there for help, and he meets this old lady, and then this lady helps him, gives him some coffee and things like that. Then he leaves, he comes back to thank her, but she's gone. She's never been there. The beautiful thing about Italy is that when you go to high school, they do have specific field, like, you can go to film high school. So I went to film high school. Like my mom, she would like cook, like just leave the phone there and she does things, and I feel like I'm there. And I think it's amazing the fact that we can do that,
So that's just the Irish culture. They're calm and quiet people.
When they drink it gets different, but at night, with a Guinness it gets flipped.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to move to Dublin?
That's an interesting question. We were like, as Europeans, we're like, oh, let's just walk to downtown LA. We used to walk, and we gotta walk from, it was like near USC area. We gotta walk to downtown LA, and we went. Maybe we just picked the wrong street, so we went through like all the tents and like bridges there. I was like, damn.
Indian industry. If you want to be director, film director, you start as an assistant, then you keep becoming second AD and third AD and first AD, and then you become director. Here, what I learned, if you want to be director, just direct. What's the advice would you give somebody who is trying to get a O1B visa? Does it even make sense to go through the process to come to LA? This journey after you left home to Ireland and coming to US, what are some of the lessons that you learned that help you?
Yeah, I definitely. I grew up in a very small town. We were like 1,000 people. We would know each other. You would walk around, everybody. And I grew up literally like in a house with like fields around. So I would play with my siblings. I have a brother and sister. I'm the middle one. And we would spend so much time just in the nature with like animals. And it's very interesting because my parents, they would rescue all animals, cats, birds, and things. So I grew up literally like with animals, pets. And like I started like being into visual storytelling since when I was very young. My dad had a camcorder, and he was using it when we were younger. And then I found out. I found that, and I started using it with my siblings. So we started playing. So just like a game, just playing. We would just make up stories and stuff. So it was a beautiful, beautiful childhood.
Is there any incident that you remember from your childhood with your maybe family, your siblings, friends that like, oh, this is a kind of core memory, as we say in filmmaking?
Yeah, I mean, there is one specifically. I don't know if you relate to that, but so we had neighbors, and I mean, that's also the reason why I'm very sensitive to animals. But again, we grew up with pets and all type of animals, literally, like from lizards to birds and anything, and mice too. I mean, this neighbor of mine, he would like once they had chickens, and he wanted me to be a man, and he showed me how to go through the process, like he killed the chicken and all that. So that was traumatizing for sure. And so that's maybe a cult memory that I had. Maybe it's the worst memory I had about being there. So that was negative. But on the other hand, it just made me more sensitive about nature and animals itself.
I mean, for a young person, it does create a strong impression, right? Especially
that was I have a vivid memory about it. And it definitely shaped the person I am, even like a small thing like that, but it wasn't that small, especially for 8 years old.
And how did that change you? Like you become more passionate towards like caring towards animals and birds and stuff?
Again, like most of my projects were like when I was 10, I was in Italy, like in a small town. They were all about like, like again, nature, animals, and like one of the movies we made, so we rescued this dog, and we made up a story about, so like basically it was my brother and my dad, they were cycling in the town, like around the town, and they found this dog, and the dog just got her name was Lily. She was so natural with them, and we made up a story about her, and we made a movie. So it was a family thing.
What's the story?
So I mean, it's a very simple story. We thought about, she had an old guy who was taking care of her, and he passed away, and the family this man. They just kicked her out, and she went out, and she found us pretty much.
Oh wow, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah, actually, it was selected in a few festivals, so that was fun. It was a family movie.
Yeah.
My grandpa was in it,
Yeah.
and he was playing the old guy. So it's a sweet story, and that was actually one of the first short films that I made.
Yeah.
So that was fun for sure. But again, as I was saying, it's pretty much brought by the fact that, like personal experiences in life, and just dealing with sensitivity towards animals and nature, for sure.
So you were making film when you were little. So you knew that you wanted to be in film from then, or what was something that you made? Like, okay, I want to be in the films.
I mean, I've never, like, back then, I never even thought about it. It was just like organic, if that makes sense. I was just like doing it for fun. Like basically when, again, we were just playing, and it just felt like that's all I've been doing for my whole life. Because since when I have memories, it was just about whatever we had, because we literally had just a camera. We didn't have a computer. Like, we couldn't edit. I remember we were filming. It was very interesting. It was very, challenging too. We were literally like in camera editing. So we were like filming each shot, and we would have voiceovers. We would record a voice recorder and play while we were filming.
Oh, wow.
So we would we made a short film, and it was about this guy that his car breaks down, and he sees a house, and he goes there for help. And he meets this old lady, and then this lady helps him, gives him some coffee and things like that. Then he leaves. He comes back to thank her, but she's gone. She's never been there. So it was like an angel that helped him.
Oh, wow.
So that was also fun. And I remember we had to create a construction site, like, because his car breaks down, and I had a toy, like a excavator, and we got a shot as if it was like, with the background, like we were playing it, whatever we had, and that was so much fun, just being creative with what we had. And it was literally just a camera, a voice recorder, and like toys,
without worrying about this film will get into festival or not.
No, we were just like, make it, and then we watched it with family members, and then it got, it started getting bigger and bigger, just involving friends. At first it was just a family, and then friends got involved, and then we got into festivals. So, I mean, and it was so good, just being there, just playing around with creativity and my siblings, so that's...
Maybe the festival was the thing that made you feel like, I want to make a career out of it.
Yeah. When I started doing that, and of course I was getting known in the town for like making films, and that's when I knew that I didn't even know it was a job. I even remember being super young and watching TV and like checking. I was like, I wanted to see. I was literally very young, but like seeing like, oh, what's behind it. I was always interested to know what's going on behind the scenes, And then I started watching videos, and just seeing what's going on behind it, and I was like, okay, that's what I want to do.
And your family was supportive of it?
Always supporting, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, they worked in your film, so
they were like producing, and they were being part of it. So always have supported my whole family about filming.
That's nice. You decided to go to Ireland, Dublin, for was it a bachelor's degree?
Yeah.
Why not stay in Italy? And because Italy has a good film industry, no?
Yeah, I mean, most of my movies, like most of my inspirations are Italian movies, like neorealism. Bicycle Thieves is one of my favorite movies. Film. Beautiful movie, and I, again, Italy is great for film, although it's a very small industry. It's very hard to get in. It's very closed. You have the same people, like, the same people working in the industries. It's kind of hard. And to be honest, I've always wanted to see what's out there, because when you're in a country, it just feels like you're in a box, and I've always been inspired by seeing what's going on around the world. I've always been interested in like learning a new language, getting to know how different cultures deal with visual storytelling, for instance, or like anything else. So, and that's the reason why, I mean, I had a few choices, because as a European member, like you can travel abroad and you can live and study and work. I went for Ireland. I remember there was this teacher of mine in high school. So also the beautiful thing about Italy is that when you go to high school, they do have specific field, like, you can go to film high school. So I went to film high school. So I've been doing that since when from my first year in high school. And this teacher of mine, he would always talk about Ireland, you know, how beautiful the country was. So definitely influenced me for that decision.
That's amazing. So there's a high school just for films,
Yeah.
and there's a high school if you want to be like a doctor or engineer.
Yeah. I don't know about doctor, maybe not, but for like creative, like if you
Yeah.
want to be a graphic designer, if you're going to be a film, if you want to do
Yeah.
maths, you know, you have specific, you know. So
That's amazing, yeah.
I went to high school just, you know, I kept making films through high school, and that was
That must be
awesome.
great encouragement because,
Yeah.
right, you are looking for like where can I get some kind of professional help or professional environment, and usually you get in when you went to college, but you got that in high school.
Yeah.
And were you able to do something creative in high
Yeah,
school?
yeah. Those honestly have beautiful memories. Again, like we have very little gear, very little. But it's it's about the story that you want to tell, and also it was very appreciated. You know, the way you make it with very little, whatever you have. And so I made a lot of projects through high school, a lot of films, short films.
And how was Dublin? Was it you living first time away from your family all by yourself? You went with somebody, or what was the first month or week like when you moved to another country?
I mean, it was well, first of all, my English was very basic. I had a very elementary school, you know, English. So for the first month, I wouldn't understand what people were saying. Also, it's a thicker accent, you know. Like I remember, and it was I got like thrown to college pretty much, and it was a full. So we were only two international students in the class, and we were like 35 people. And they were like, I remember first time I would not understand what's going on. I would just, you know, they were all talking. The system was different, you know, bureaucracy was different. I had to get certain documents and all that. And so it was tough. The first month, I was like, and people were talking to me, I would just smile, like, I don't know what you're saying. Sure, like, it's fine. But then, of course, after a while, a year, you know, it gets used to it, and then, you know, it was crazy. If I think about that move, it was kind of like crazy because I had to write essays, you know, and my English was so basic. But again, I really think the best way to grow is just to get out of your comfort zone, you know. And I really got out of my comfort zone.
How old were you?
I was, so it was 2017. I was probably like 19, 20. Yeah.
That's a young age to just move to a different country.
Yeah. So that was great. And of course, I mean, if I think about now, I'm very far from my family. But back then it was like 2 hours away, you know, it wasn't too bad. But for a 20 years old, it felt like, you know, I would see them like 3 times a year, you know. Then of course we're very lucky nowadays because I can video call them. So that helped for sure. And then they visited me, so I got my parents to come over. I lived with roommates, you know. I struggled, you know, like through college I had to work. Of course, I was working for a famous fast food chain, and that was fun, you know. I got to meet some international people.
What was the struggle part? Was it just being alone, or financially you were on your own, or
well, I didn't move alone. I moved with my friend, so it was 2 of us, but basically like again, like we had to work. Dublin was very expensive. Accommodation was so bad. It just like, I think it's where I lived is the worst place for accommodation. It was just insane. Like, so it's like LA prices, but like you get a super small place and you have to share with other people, and you have to work. I had to work because I didn't really have a financial help. So I just had to, I was literally working overnight and then going to college the day after, getting very little sleep, you know, during the weekend, of course. But so that, and I was cycling. I didn't have a car. I just had to cycle, get public transit.
Oh, wow.
So that was intense. And it was a full-time college. So it was like, you know, every day. But again, that pushed me to just, you know, I really feel that I was so comfort at home, and I just needed to get out of my comfort zone. And that was a cultural shock, let's say.
Did you get a good education in that school?
Yeah. I mean, somehow, like the first year was very, again, my background was a film high school. So I had some, you know, things, and that was like starting from scratch again. But again, it's a different system. You know, Italy was something, even like terminology, and just being there and learning how the English speaking world works was very helpful.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to move to Dublin?
That's an interesting question. Well, specific to Dublin, advice. I mean, just be mindful about accommodation, because that's a tough one. But again, it's a beautiful city, and definitely do it. I mean, it's
Can they
definitely worth
prepare
it.
themselves in a certain way? Like maybe start watching Irish movies, so at least get used to accent.
Oh yeah. Definitely do that. Yeah, the accent's very thick.
Yeah.
And but again, it's just accommodation. I think it's the toughest part. If you're not very wealthy, just moving to Ireland itself, it just gets crazy. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would go back, and I miss it, like I miss being college. It's a beautiful college where I went to. It's a National Film School, IDT, and Dunleary, and I learned a lot. Again, as an international student, and I'm pretty sure even like local students, they learned, and not just like film. You know, you learn about how to deal.
That's the important part.
And honestly, something that I love about the Irish people, you know, like they're very patient, you know, and you learn how to deal with, like, especially when you direct actors, you know, like to be kind, and that's, you know, kindness, something that I really learned in Ireland.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And if you know, it's not like LA. It's a slower pace. You know, you gotta be quiet, calm, and kind.
So that's just the Irish culture. They're calm and quiet people.
When they drink, it gets different. But
that's why, because they were quiet so long.
Yeah. At night, you know, with a Guinness, it gets you know, flipped. But during the day, they're also very like calm and kind to each other, which I loved. You know?
That's a good thing to know. And after that, was it always planned to come to LA, or you something from Ireland you were like, oh, maybe I want to go to LA?
Well, I've always been into, you know, again, just as you said at the beginning, just going to the next level, you know, and I always felt like Ireland, the island of Ireland, was like a launch pad somehow. So I always wanted to go to LA just to see, you know, like LA for movies. We all, you know, we all come here for that, most of us, and I always wanted to experience that, just to see how it was. And I had an idea, of course, but it, you know, it's different from when you move here and you experience whatever it is.
And you, instead of coming as a student, you apply for the artist visa, right?
Yeah. So I got here with a O1B visa, and I got that through COVID. So I lost a year, unfortunately, because of COVID, because it was so hard to travel, and you know, we all know what happened.
So you got. Let's talk about the process. How was the O1B visa process that you did from Ireland?
Yeah.
Did you need an agent? You use lawyer? You did it on your own?
So I did have a sponsor. So I had a sponsor here in the US, and with some projects I was meant to do that unfortunately got pushed because of COVID. But it was a long process for sure, especially, so I got 2 visas. I got the first one, and I lost a year. So let's say it was for 3 years, but ended up being for 2, and then the second one. But it was a long process because you have to document, you know, just get all your awards, accomplishments, just have them ready for your applications. That took a long time, you know, translate them also, because most of my newspapers, articles and all that, they were Italian. And then you need to have a good team of lawyers for sure. And I did have one. And
was it in Ireland or in LA?
It was actually in LA, Santa Monica. So, you know, just, I think it probably took a year. Like it took a year for just the application. And then it took some time for it to get approved. And it took a very long time because of COVID. So it took longer than expected.
You applied for 1 year, right?
I applied
or whole 3 years.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
But so the way it works, when you have a like I was meant to work for my employer, for my sponsor, on a specific date, but then COVID happened. So even though that was the date, and that's when the 3 years start. But I started working almost like a year later because of COVID, so I lost a year.
And there was no adjustment for that, right?
No.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got a new sponsor for the new one that I'm right now.
So the whole year of visa process, and then COVID came. That period must be interesting for you, or a little hard. Like, okay, I got the visa and I'm just stuck here.
Yeah. Well, back then it was kind of hard because like COVID, I wasn't very lucky with my graduation too, because, you know, masks, and, you know, it was like a different experience, not what I was planning to.
Yeah.
And, but I would just like taking advantage of like that year break, for like making new stuff, learning new things too.
Yeah.
I did work in media. So because while I was in college for let's say like for a year, the first year I was working for something else, but then I got hired for a media company, and I worked for a media company, and I learned how to deal with media, so like video production, website, and all that.
Nice.
So it's something that I'm very grateful, to, because made me learn a new skill, which is great.
Yeah.
And in the year while I was waiting to come here, I worked on that field. So I was working because a lot of people, they needed to get online.
Yeah.
So it was a great business back then.
Yeah.
And I moved to Italy for a year.
Makes sense. It's good to stay busy while you are doing your visa process, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of work collecting papers and recommendation letter. In your case, translating all the article and stuff.
Yeah.
And people just focus on that process instead of doing creative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned that you got as a creative person, writer, director, actor, you got to keep working. You can't just stay and wait, because what if there's rejection?
Yeah.
What if they took a year? Sometimes immigration takes 2 years, 3 years, right?
Yeah.
You never know. They don't tell you like, oh, you will be back in this date. There is complete uncertainty. So it's good that you worked while, and you learned something new.
Yeah. I always try to take advantage of I don't like waiting in general.
That's a good
and
thing.
it's can get frustrating too sometimes, because I always want things to move.
Yeah.
But definitely being there and trying to, I'm always open to learn new skills.
Yeah.
It was kind of harder to make movies because of COVID, so it wasn't great. But definitely like dealing, that field was something that very happy about.
How was LA when you moved?
LA, yeah, it was crazy. I remember the first month I was, living in South LA. I remember when I got here, I was with my partner, and we were like, as Europeans, we're like, oh, let's just walk to downtown LA. We used to walk, and we gotta walk from, it was like near USC area. We gotta walk to downtown LA, and we went. Maybe we just picked the wrong street, so we went through like all the tents and like the bridges there. I was like, damn. It's crazy. But so that was kind of the first month was definitely rough, and getting public transit, which is great. Like people say public transit in LA is bad, but
it just takes longer time.
It takes longer, but you can get pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, you can.
It's just like sometimes it gets rough. But so that was crazy. But after the first month, then things got better. We got a better place, and we were staying with roommates, and we got to meet beautiful people. We were living in a beautiful area of LA, and we loved it. It was awesome. Like it was just like a dream coming true. And that was awesome.
And how many years it has been for you in LA?
It's been like 2.5 years, almost 3 years at this point.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of change, a lot of things happening, a lot of projects, and like a lot of moving and changing. But again, as I think, like you started a conversation, I just love to go always to the next level, and that's for me. It's like challenges, a lot of challenges and things you have to go through. But that's what I enjoy.
You said Italian industry, you feel like it was really close. I heard from one Japanese person too. He said like same thing. How is Hollywood different from Italian industry? I'll give you one example. Indian industry. If you want to be director, film director, you start as an assistant and you keep becoming second AD and third AD and first AD, and then you become director. Here, what I learned, if you want to be director, just direct.
Exactly.
Right? And that's a really cool thing. Yeah. So I don't know how Italian industry is different.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I can see like in India, in Italy, you have to do the whole process, and eventually, maybe if you know the right people, you're gonna get there. So it's always like, which I get it, and also here, in certain extents, can be the same. But what I noticed, and whatever you said, it's true. Like here, I think you want to do that, just believe in yourself, just do it, and you can do it. And I've seen that happening, and it happened. So, and that's what I love about here. And it's true. It's kind of like it's a tough time right now for the film industry in LA. But at the same time, I think that's where it all happens. Like, where it all starts. Then we might be filming in Atlanta, we might be filming in Canada or Budapest, or But I think that's where it all starts.
Yeah, decisions are made here.
Yeah, and I love, like, opportunity-wise, and like it's just a completely different vibe from Italy. I mean, in my experience, you believe in yourself and you just make it happen.
Yeah. Technically, is there any difference in terms of making films here versus Italy?
Yeah, definitely different. I mean, again, the movies that I made in Italy, they were like very small projects.
Yeah,
Like
you didn't work in
myself,
the industry.
so I
Yeah.
didn't really. I worked on a movie, but it was. I think it was 2014, but definitely different. Like terminology, roles are different. Very similar but very different.
Yeah.
And I'd say even from Ireland.
Yeah.
Ireland's definitely similar to the US.
Yeah.
But like being here, learning how things work, and it's definitely different.
Nice. As an Italian person, I know Italian people, or maybe it's just the stereotype, but they are really passionate about the food, right, and their culture. Is there any cultural shock you experience in US when it comes to maybe trying Italian food, or just people in general, or as I said, like we are used to walking in downtown, and here there's no walking culture, right?
Yeah.
There's no night outside life. Is there any other cultural shock, especially as an Italian person, you felt it's like this is not good or this is great,
Yeah, well, like food wise, I'm usually very open. Like I'm not that strict.
Yeah.
But I'd say like Dublin was kind of harder to find good food, and it's very controversial. I know this opinion is very controversial, but maybe because it's California, it's LA, you can get anything you want. You can get healthy food, you can get fast food, bad food, and honestly, I love food in LA, and you can find anything you want, and you have anything.
Everything,
so that's awesome, and it's different from Italy. Like in Italy, you find it's very like it's a niche. You can find Italian food, you can find Chinese, Asian, but here, I love the way it is, to be honest. What I noticed is something I actually noticed very recently. Let's say you get pasta here, it's like they have vitamin and all that, whereas in Europe you just get pasta, which is very simple ingredients. So that's something interesting. But then I wonder, again, another controversial opinion, but I never get sick here. So I don't know if it's the pasta helping or, but whatever they do, I think, well, I also try to eat healthy, I don't, as an Italian person, maybe because I care about what I eat, I just try to be mindful of what I'm eating.
What do you do when you miss your home, when you get homesick? Is there anything that you can do here that makes you feel like, okay, I'm a little bit close to my home?
Yeah. I mean, definitely I do call home, I just video call home, sometimes. I mean, to be honest, I do that daily, but I do, and it's not even like just about talking, because sometimes you don't know what to talk about at some point, if you talk to your family every day, but just about, like my mom, she would like cook, like just leave the phone there and she does things, and I feel like I'm there, and I think it's amazing, the fact that we can do that, so that's definitely something I do. I do like walking around. Again, it's a different feel, just huge trucks going around and like everybody's driving, and but I do that.
You can walk in a place like Grove and stuff.
Yeah. That helps. Getting a coffee, just walking around, it makes me feel more. Or again, like I love going to parks. We have beautiful parks in California, like around here, also, and I love doing that. Just I love the Malibu Creek State Park. I do that. I do go there and just go for a walk.
It's nice you said like you talk to your family every day. As an Indian, I talk to my mom every day, and sometimes a lot of funny things happen, because if there is a snowstorm in Florida, in India news shows like there's snowstorm in US, they don't say Florida. I'm sure they probably say Florida at the end, but it's like US has a big snowstorm, and my mom like, what is happening in LA? And I was like, no, it's in Florida. And it's like, if there's something happens, there's so much misinformation about how big US is, and in LA also, and she's like, I heard the news, something is happening in America, and it's like, yeah, but
it's a bigger country.
It's a huge country, and nothing is happening here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it's again for people who don't live in LA, it's so hard to understand how big the city is. And I remember, like, the very bad thing happened to our community. The fires last year. That was bad, but whatever you like get the news and you get the Hollywood Hills on fire, they would think that, you know, the all city of LA was burned down.
Yeah.
So I would have my mom saying, "Oh, are you safe? Are you in a shelter?" Like, it's bad, it's awful, and you see very bad footage, but that's a small part of the city, you know. So I get a lot of, you know, concern from my family when that happens, and of course gun violence and all of that. Even if it happens in, I don't know, like Colorado or something, you know, you get that. And I understand, you know, I understand that kind of. But then I also got them to visit me, to come over and understand how things are, and it's not as bad as it looks like.
Yeah, I remember mine was like, don't get into fight with anybody. This is not India. You can't just like slap other person and they slap you and you go on your way. People might have guns, so don't get into fight with anybody. And it's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, same. My grandma, she actually, I was driving to here, I was talking to her, she's like, just be careful, you know. Yeah. Well, we had a little thing happening in North Hollywood today, you know. But very sad, but
it's a big city, so many things happen
you know,
in big
at some
cities,
point, and definitely something I learned. Like, I don't know, LA is just a crazy big city, and a lot is happening, you know, and
that's the story of every big city, right?
Yeah.
New York, even Mumbai, you know, kind of a lot of things happen.
Yeah, but overall, I think it's very safe. Like, if you know what you're doing, you're just not doing anything bad, you're safe.
What's the advice would you give somebody who is trying to get O1B visa? What are the things they can prepare, and, you know, if they get accepted or even rejected, but how do they prepare?
Well, definitely my biggest advice is just get all your documentation, just, you know, start collecting everything since when you start. You know, that's the toughest part. If you haven't done it and you want to apply for a visa, and of course you need to have some accomplishments, you know, you need to have won some awards or like some newspaper interviews and all that. So the toughest part when it comes to apply for O1B, it's just to have everything ready, or like just collect everything, and that takes a long time. For me, it took a long time, because sometimes you just get things and then you forget about them, but like just keep everything ready, and of course just get a good lawyer for sure.
Yeah, I applied for O1B visa too, and I didn't get visa. And one of the, you know, mistake my lawyer made, I think they took it for granted a little bit, because at that time everybody was getting visa, and they made some like sending documents without signature, or just some mistakes that were just logically thinking like no break between 3 years, kind of a work deal memo and stuff. So I would say double check everything, because lawyer, they talk to you and, you know, you will be like, okay, this is the greatest lawyer, but at the end of the day their assistant is going to do all the work. They just get the client, they don't work, and they might check your project at the end, but they don't work on your file, you know. They have assistants, and they might just basically copy paste stuff or do the same thing. So make sure your application is authentic. You said it right, start collecting paperwork before even you were thinking of visa application, because if you're like, well, I want to apply for visa, sometimes it takes 6-7 months to collect paperwork. It's better to collect in advance, start collecting. Translation is like, you can't just translate from one language. You have to find somebody who can make sure this certified, right? Some people would take a week to give you, you know, recommendation letter, month, all those things. So start the process early, but also make sure you are extraordinary talent. If you don't have that much of work done, maybe go back to your country, do some work, get some media, win some awards, and then come back.
Right? Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a requirement. You need to have some, you know, projects done, and they need to have some, like, a little bit, you know, of like success somehow. So it's something that, as a artist, you know, you need to just work on your portfolio. That's definitely something you need to do, and that takes time, you know. And like if you're planning to get a visa, you know, just be mindful of that. That it's not just about, of course, collecting paperwork, but just have the work done.
And also industry right now, as we are experiencing, right? There was a strike in 2022? 23, right?
That's when I moved here,
And I don't feel like the Hollywood has recovered after that. I have friends who've been working in industry for a decade, and they haven't been able to work consistently or work at all after that. One of the reasons being the tax is high, and people are shooting outside of California. People go to Canada, you know, New Mexico. Also, studios are really expensive to shoot in studios, so that's also another reason people don't shoot here more. AI has taken a lot of job. So does it even make sense to go through the process to come to LA to find a job, right? If you want to make films here and if you are at certain level, that makes sense. But start from a basic where a PA job, right now it would be really hard to get an entry level job.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a tough time for LA
Yeah.
and for the film industry. But of course, like as an O1B visa, you need to have a job already.
Yeah.
But I'm coming, like we just wrapped 2 or 3 months ago. We wrapped a feature film that we shot in California, like
Yeah.
LA, San Francisco. So it's,
Yeah.
although it's tough,
Yeah.
and maybe it's definitely more expensive than a couple of years ago. So the budgets, they get very tight.
Yeah.
You gotta save on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it's possible. Like
Yeah.
I'm very positive about.
Yeah.
Again, I personally been through very rough times, and I'm
Yeah.
positive about things. It's just a change. I
Yeah.
don't see it as a negative way. I just
Yeah.
think it's just the industry is changing towards something else, and we
Yeah.
just have to adapt to it.
Yeah.
But it's still, I do believe that
Yeah.
things are still happening here. Maybe not as before, but
And on the other side, if you look at the film jobs are less, but content creation jobs are increasing
yeah.
so much,
Absolutely.
right? That has become the biggest kind of a profession
Mm-hmm.
in our time. So there are opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
just different place, different kind of work, and you will find it.
Yeah, I really think you have to be open mentally just to
Yeah.
understand how things are changing and
Mm-hmm.
learn how get updated on like what's going on
Yeah.
and just adapt to the industry. And if you really want to make it,
Yeah.
you'll make it. I really believe in believing yourself, and if you set yourself to do something, you will achieve it. I believe it.
Yeah, I met one of the writer who has been working in industry as a writer for the TV shows for almost 15-20 years, and the person says like, I knew more about industry 20 years ago than right now, which means everything is changing, and so you just have to learn a lot of new things, and if you change with it, I think there are opportunities, right?
I believe it.
And
Yeah.
and now you are doing your process for green card.
Well, I do. I mean, I'm having some, good opportunities happening, and I believe that I would like to give a shot to, the EB1 process,
Yeah.
and it's something very ambitious. But
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of of course, the O1B visa. It's an awesome, opportunity, and it's great that this thing exists. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to it. But at the same time, it can be very limiting. So I'm getting certain opportunities, and they require the next step. And as we were talking, I think it's the topic of our conversation. Just always going to the next step, and it's something that I'm looking into.
That's amazing. And what do you mean by limitation in O1B? So you just work in your own field, right? You cannot do other jobs.
Yeah, it's even like other jobs. Like you have to work with your employer, and that's all. Your employer can be your agent, so there is some flexibility there. But at the same time, it's a tough. Like, let's say you need to change your employer. It's a very long process, and that's where the limiting part comes. If you change your employer, if you change your sponsor, you can just like submit it. You have to pay certain fees. It takes some time, and it just slows down, and it just doesn't allow you to take those opportunities.
Have you started your green card process?
Well, not yet, but I'm planning to next year. I have a few projects coming out, and those are required.
You talk about you already shot a feature film, right?
So I co-produce it.
Co-producer. Film. Yeah. What kind of story is it? And
it's a story about revenge, and like it's a coming of age drama. I'd say I consider it as a dramedy, which it's not something that I usually work with. Yeah. But so definitely, that was a change, but it was fun. It was very fun to shoot. It's directed by Maria Bistel. The title is Busted, so keep an eye out for it next year. And it was a crazy experience. And as we were talking about LA and just filming in LA, I think the biggest challenge was filming in California. We didn't film fully in LA, so we filmed in the Bay Area for half of it, and then some around LA. But we were considering to film different states, but then we ended up going for California, which I'm very proud of. And it was a very interesting story, and looking forward to be out there.
What kind of stories you want to tell as a writer director? Because you have Italian background,
Yeah.
right? And you grew up certain thing. You said you are passionate about environment and nature and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
animals and stuff. What kind of stories you want to tell, and do you think there is a space for those stories in in Hollywood?
Well, I really believe like I know it's hard, but what I try to be myself, just to be authentic, just be myself, and based on my experience and what I love. I love visual storytelling, and I love realism also, you know, and it's like these kind of stories that I like to tell are usually based, and again, on nature and like human beings, and
Yeah.
like, and that, you know, and I love that. But at the same time, a person likes sci-fi, so I like when the two worlds in, you know,
Yeah.
they meet and they merge.
Yeah.
So definitely, these are the kind of stories that I like to tell.
And you're gonna incorporate what you learn while growing up in Italy or any part of your culture in it, or you don't like? No, it's a different story. It doesn't have to be in it.
I mean, I don't. I would love to film, you know, in Italy, because I think it's a beautiful place. It's
Yeah.
beautiful for,
Yeah.
you know, like there. And again, Italy is just so random, because Italy is, you know, it's not a huge country, but we get a lot of different settings,
Yeah.
the south to north, the mountains, you know.
Yeah.
So I would definitely love to film something over there. And yeah, I mean, I don't have any specific plans for filming over there, but
Yeah.
definitely in the future it's going to happen.
Nice. Okay, so last question. In this journey after you left home to Ireland and coming to US, what are some of the lessons that you learned that help you?
Yeah, I definitely, I believe that what made me what I am, and of course I'm still developing, I'm still like growing every day. Again, like I was saying to you, like being here as well, it's something like getting out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really recommend. It's hard, it's tough. You're not gonna like it at first, but then,
Yeah.
but the same, just remember who you are, where you're from,
Yeah.
and just be yourself.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really recommend. And that's the advice I would do. And it's, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to be away from your family,
Yeah.
and to, you know, go through certain things, but it's worth it.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Hirsch.
If you have any questions, if you're from Italy and want to know how to survive in Hollywood, or any questions about O1B visa or industry, please put those questions in the comment section, and I will try and ask Simone if he has answers for those. Thank you.
Thank you.